Hare Krishna. Please.
Hare Krishna. So we would like to welcome His Grace Ambrish Maharaj Prabhu amongst all of us. We are very fortunate to have Prabhuji and Mataji's association here with us. They are, for some personal reasons, they are here in Pune, and they have mercifully agreed to give us their association. So I'll just read a brief introduction for His Grace Ambrish Maharaj Prabhu. He's one of the leading members of the ISKCON community at Wellington in New Zealand. He hails from Pune, and he has an avid interest in spirituality. He had read multiple books and had heard from many speakers on spiritual topics. But when he read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, he was inspired to take to the spiritual path in a serious manner. After moving to Wellington in 2008, he was introduced to his spiritual master, Vedvyas Priya Swami Maharaj, a direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada and one of the most inspirational leaders in the ISKCON worldwide community. A visit to the holy city of Vrindavan, the holy town of Vrindavan, inspired him to serve his guru and commit to the principles of Bhakti Yoga, and he received formal initiation in 2011. Ambrish Maharaj Prabhu conducts courses, seminars, lectures, retreats on spiritual topics like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. He also conducts Bhakti Shastri courses at Wellington for devotees there. He and his good wife, Her Grace Ananga Manjari Devi Mataji, are the backbone of the vibrant spiritual community in Wellington, and together they have started ISKCON Center for Culture and Education in 2018, which caters to the spiritual needs of the community in the Wellington region through various weekly programs, festivals, and spiritual retreats. He also serves as a member of the National Council of ISKCON at New Zealand level. He is a bachelor's degree holder in electrical engineering from one of the premier institutes in India, a top student in his university days. He currently works in a managerial position at the Ministry of Social Development, which is the part of New Zealand government. His previous work experience includes working with prestigious companies like Spark, HP, British Telecom, L&T, and Infosys. Apart from his full-time work with the Ministry of Social Development at New Zealand, he aids his regular practice of Bhakti Yoga with a focus on the study of Vedic scriptures. He also personally mentors and guides new practitioners of Bhakti Yoga like Kanai Thakur Das. You said that in the message. Don't laugh. You said this, you mentioned that in the message. And he's deeply committed to sharing his wisdom, the principles that he practices, right? And his practice is very, very inspiring. Somehow he pulls me, he has been locked down also, he has been pulling me in and asking me to give some seminars for the New Zealand congregation that he has cultivated. I can see just as so sweet and so loving and so gentle they both are. Even devotees whom they have cultivated, they're also like that. So we are very fortunate to have their association and get to hear from His Grace Ambrish Maharaj Prabhu. Let us welcome him at ISKCON Vishal Nagar by one time chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. I'll talk about that introduction later on. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव यशोदानन्दन ब्रजजनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन यशोदानन्दन ब्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, 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 Jai Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Gurudev, 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 Jai Srila Gurudev. Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1. This is chapter 9, is entitled The Passing Away of Bhishma Dev. And we are talking on the last verse, 49th verse. Pitra chanumato raja vasudevānumoditaha chakara rajyam dharmena pitrupaitamaham vibhu. Pitra chanumato raja vasudevānumoditaha chakara rajyam dharmena pitrupaitamaham vibhu. Pitra chanumato raja vasudevānumoditaha chakara rajyam dharmena pitrupaitamaham vibhu. Pitra chanumato raja vasudevānumoditaha chakara rajyam dharmena pitrupaitamaham vibhu. Pitra chanumato raja vasudevānumoditaha chakara rajyam dharmena pitrupaitamaham vibhu. पित्रा चानुमतो राजा वासुदेवानुमोदितः चकार राज्यं धर्मेण पितृपैतामहं विभु. वैष्णवीस्. पित्रा चानुमतो राजा वासुदेवानुमोदितः चकार राज्यं धर्मेण पितृपैतामहं विभु. पित्रा चानुमतो राजा वासुदेवानुमोदितः चकार राज्यं धर्मेण पितृपैतामहं विभु. Pitra, by his uncle Dhritarashtra, Cha, and Anumataha, with his approval, Raja, King Yudhishthir, Vasudeva Anumoditaha, confirmed by Lord Shri Krishna, Chakara, executed, Rajyam, the kingdom, Dharmena, in compliance with the codes of royal principles. Pitra, father, Paitamaham, forefather, Vibhu, as great as. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat after me the translation as well. After this, the great religious king, Maharaj Yudhishthir, executed the royal power in the kingdom strictly according to the codes and royal principles approved by his uncle and confirmed by Lord Shri Krishna. Purport. Maharaj Yudhishthir was not a mere tax collector. He was always conscious of his duty as a king, which is no less than that of a father or spiritual master. The king is to see to the welfare of the citizens from all angles of social, political, economic, and spiritual upliftment. The king must know that human life is meant for liberating the encaged soul from the bondage of material conditions. And therefore, his duty is to see that the citizens are properly looked after to attain this highest stage of perfection. Maharaj Yudhishthir followed these principles strictly, as will be seen from the next chapter. Not only did he follow the principles, but he also got approval from his old uncle, who was experienced in political affairs. And that was also confirmed by Lord Krishna, the speaker of philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. Maharaj Yudhishthir is the ideal monarch. And monarchy under a trained king like Maharaj Yudhishthir is by far the most superior form of government, superior to modern republics or governments of people by the people. The mass of people, especially in this age of Kali, are all born Shudras, basically low-born, ill-trained, unfortunate, and badly associated. They themselves do not know the highest perfectional aim of life. Therefore, votes cast by them actually have no value. And thus, persons elected by such irresponsible votes cannot be responsible representatives like Maharaj Yudhishthir. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. I'm very happy here in ISKCON Vishal Nagar. This is my first time that I'm coming here. I wanted to come to hear from Kanai Thakur Prabhuji, but as you know, the Supreme Lord is quite keen for pushing ahead his own devotees ahead of himself. And we can actually see this chapter as well is going like this. At the end of chapter 48, you would have already seen, chapter 8, that Yudhishthir Maharaj is lamenting. He is thinking that at the end of this war, in which millions of soldiers and warriors have got killed, it was all happening just to make me the king. And because of this, he was lamenting that I am responsible for killing of all these people. And interestingly, Lord Sri Krishna tried to console him, tried to give him instructions. But the interesting part was that Maharaj Yudhishthir was not consoled by the Supreme Lord. This is all the pastimes of the Lord. The Lord wanted to push forward or put forward his own devotee, a pure devotee, Bhishma Dev, and he wanted to tell the entire world that Bhishma Dev is not an ordinary person. Bhishma Dev is one of the Mahajanas, and he is better than me in consoling Yudhishthir Maharaj and giving the instructions to Yudhishthir Maharaj. So as we can see, this in the spiritual world, even the Lord, actually the devotees as well, they are trying to put forward or push forward the other devotees, saying that, oh, this devotee is better than me, this devotee is better than me, that devotee is better than me. In the material world, it is the opposite. In the material world, we are always pushing ourselves forward. We are saying, Arey, that person, I will tell you afterwards about that person. I am much better than him. That is the material tendency. The spiritual tendency is completely opposite. The spiritual tendency is, I am no good. This other person, this is much better devotee. So the Lord also is quite keen like that. He is saying, my devotees are better than me. So similarly, here we can see that Kanai Thakur Prabhuji, he is my mentor. But he is saying that I am his mentor. He jokes. Prabhuji, as you know, he jokes a lot. I don't know whether he jokes in this congregation. when he gives online lectures to us, we are continuously laughing. So this is like that. Prabhuji is like, I met Prabhuji many years ago at Prabhuji's house, where Kanai Thakur Prabhuji was giving a lecture on Bhagavad Gita. It was a very beautiful lecture. And I was immediately attracted to Prabhuji because he was so effulgent. And immediately after the lecture as well, I went and talked to Prabhuji. And since then, even though we haven't met for a long, multiple times or a lot of times, I still felt a close connection with Prabhuji. So I'm very fortunate to come here. And I wanted to hear from Prabhuji. But of course, Prabhuji wanted to see, now so many years I have taught this foolish person. Let us see whether he has understood whatever I have told him. And he said that, okay, you go and sit on this chair and talk little bit. I will check whether you have learned properly or not. So I have accepted that. And I said that, okay, let me speak. So I said that, okay, I will sit here and speak something and then seek for some feedback from Prabhuji afterwards, whether uh, I, I really understood a little bit of whatever he has taught me or not. So I'm seeking blessings of all these wonderful Vaishnavas sitting here. And you all are trained by Kanai Thakur Prabhuji. So I can immediately understand that from the tree, how the fruits will come. So I'm seeking all like your blessings, that whatever I can speak about Srimad Bhagavatam, about this verse, that is properly coming, the right words comes. Kripa sindhubhyayo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So we are on this verse 49th. So this is the last verse of this chapter. And earlier in this chapter, what is happening, as I was mentioning, that Yudhishthira Maharaj is lamenting. And Bhishma Dev is sleeping on the battlefield. Sleeping means not sleeping, but he is lying on the arrows, the bed of the arrows. And Lord Krishna decides that he wants to actually give darshan to Bhishma Dev. It is his time to go back, and out of his causeless mercy, he decides that I will go and give him darshan. And at the same time, before he departs, I want to also glorify Bhishma Dev by giving or getting the instructions for Yudhishthira Maharaj from Bhishma Dev. And that is how they all go to the battlefield. And Bhishma Dev is very, very pleased to see Yudhishthira Maharaj in all this royal paraphernalia that he is coming with, this beautiful chariot and this helmet that he is wearing, and everyone is accompanying him. Looking at that, he is very, very pleased, because he has always seen Pandavas suffering. And then he says that it is a surprise that after all of these atrocities which have happened against you, you all are still alive. And this is only possible because of Vipra Dharma Achyuta Ashraya. Because you have always taken shelter of Vipras, the Brahmanas, Dharma, the principles of religion, and Achyuta, the Supreme Lord. And then he pacifies him. He says that when Lord Shri Krishna is with you, when Arjuna and Bhima is with you, when you are following all these principles of religion, still you are suffering so much, it is inconceivable. It is only possible because of the will of the Lord. If the Lord did not want, it wouldn't have happened. So please accept whatever is happening as the will of the Lord, and you have become the king. That is also because of the will of the Lord. So you accept that as well. And that is how he pacifies. And then he also gives lots of instructions on various principles of religion. And then after that, and actually before that, all these sages from all over the universe have come. Without any WhatsApp messages or anything, they have suddenly come. And I always wonder, what is this communication technique that these ancient people had, the sadhus had? No one had to actually invite, no one had to make a phone call that, "Arey, come, Bhishma Dev is passing." They know that such a wonderful devotee is going to pass away, and the Lord is going to be there. There are wonderful instructions. Krishna Katha is going to happen. They automatically come. And that is how they have all arrived there. And in front of all of them, Lord Krishna gives darshan to Bhishma Dev, and Bhishma Dev leaves his body. And after Bhishma Dev has left his body, then Yudhishthira Maharaj does the last rites of Bhishma Dev. And then immediately, the previous verse, he would have discussed that yesterday, immediately he goes to Hastinapur. To do what? To console Dhritarashtra, his uncle Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, auntie. And then this verse comes, Pitra Chanumato Raja Vasudevanu Moditaha Chakara Rajyam Dharmena Pitru Paita Maham Vibhu. After this, the great religious king Maharaj Yudhishthir executed the royal power in the kingdom strictly according to the codes and royal principles approved by his uncle, and confirmed by Lord Shri Krishna. And immediately when I first read this translation, I felt that Maharaj Yudhishthira is such a great personality, just an amazing personality. Now imagine Dhritarashtra, how many atrocities Dhritarashtra has done and his sons, they have done on Pandavas. First of all, this kingdom is Yudhishthira's. He is the rightful heir of the kingdom. But Dhritarashtra always pushed Duryodhana ahead, and he wanted Duryodhana to become the king. So then he allowed Duryodhana to do so many plans, and Duryodhana executed as well many of the plans for killing Pandavas. Of course, they were not successful, but they had to actually go through these plans of like all these problems that are associated with these plans of Duryodhana. Then, even after that, when Yudhishthir Maharaj and they invited him for the gambling match, and they cheated in the gambling match. Before that, even Draupadi, there was an attempt to disrobe her, and that happened in front of Dhritarashtra. In his assembly, he is the king at that point in time. So it is said that Maunam Sammati Lakshanam. So even if you say that, oh, Duryodhana did not tell Dhritarashtra that I am making this plan and I am going to kill them, but of course he knows that who is actually making all these plans, and he is not taking any actions against Duryodhana. And that is actually giving Duryodhana power. He is thinking that, yeah, this is fine. My father also agreeing to what I am doing. So this is a very challenging situation for Yudhishthir Maharaj and all the Pandavas. That wife is there is attempt on disrobing her. Then they are getting cheated in the match, gambling match. Then they were sent for exile for 13 years. Even after 13 years, when they come back, they are still not given the kingdom. Still, they were asked to fight. They tried actually to avoid all this, the war which was going to happen, by even asking for only 5 villages. But that request was also rejected by Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra. And finally, there was war. And all these people died in that war. And now you imagine that all of these things, say, suppose, are happening with you. Someone has tried to kill you. Someone has cheated you. Someone has insulted your wife publicly. And all of this thing has happened. You have fought a war. And because of your strength, you have finally won the war. Now you have the power and position. And imagine now this person who is the cause of all of your problems for so many years is in front of you. He's powerless, and you are now in a position to now give justice. What would you do? Kshatriyas are allowed to punish. Kshatriyas are allowed to punish. They would immediately, even if Yudhishthir Maharaj would have killed Dhritarashtra at that point in time, as a king, as a punishment for all his atrocities and all his crimes that he has performed, that would have been justified. Isn't it? Or, suppose he's an elder person, so not kill. Maybe I'll put him in the jail. Justified. If someone who has a very big heart, he would say, no. He is a respectable person, my uncle, and he was a king. Okay, I forgive him. But Yudhishthir Maharaj is going one step forward. Not only he hasn't punished Dhritarashtra, not only he hasn't just forgiven Dhritarashtra, but he is respecting Dhritarashtra. He is respecting Dhritarashtra as his uncle. He is still respecting and taking instructions from Dhritarashtra. He is taking permission from Dhritarashtra that can I now become a king? Isn't that amazing? that the person who is the cause of all of this, you are still respectful of that person, and you are taking and seeking permission from him. And this is the first quality. Trying to cover 2 or 3 lessons from this verse and the purport that Srila Prabhupada has given. So, the first thing that we can actually learn from this verse is how equipoised Yudhishthir Maharaj is. Yudhishthir Maharaj is not getting deviated from his principles of religion. He is not getting deviated because whatever has happened in the past and this person is responsible for it. He is steady. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Shri Krishna is asking us to become Sthita Prajna. Be equipoised, be equipoised, be equipoised. Get over the dualities. At least 35 times he has mentioned in Bhagavad Gita that get over this sukha and dukkha, get over this heat and cold, and this happiness and distress. And he keeps on repeating that throughout the Bhagavad Gita. So he is basically asking us to come over of the duality that we face. Duality is this person is my enemy and this person is my friend. So Yudhishthir Maharaj is Sthita Prajna. How? He is also Ajata Shatru. Ajata Shatru means, I always thought in the beginning that Ajata Shatru means the person who doesn't have any enemies. And I always used to think that how come Yudhishthir Maharaj is Ajata Shatru? Ajata Shatru means he doesn't have any enemies. But I can see in Mahabharata he has so many enemies. Duryodhana is his enemy, Dushasana is enemy, Dhritarashtra is also enemy, and so many other the Kauravas and Shakuni, so many are enemies of Yudhishthir Maharaj. Definitely, there is some mistake. He is not Ajata Shatru. But then I understood that Ajata Shatru means it is not that other people not consider Yudhishthir Maharaj as enemy. Ajata Shatru means it is the consciousness that a devotee has that no matter what other people do to him, he or she will not consider the person as his enemy. So it is the consciousness that we have that no matter what anyone does to me, I will not put him into the category of he or she is my enemy. It's an amazing quality, and you can see Yudhishthir Maharaj is showcasing the quality of Ajata Shatru and Sthita Prajnata. And we always think that all of these qualities which are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, they are too high for us. Like, yeah, that's good, but they are not implementable. But we can see the real example through Yudhishthir Maharaj. How Yudhishthir Maharaj was Ajata Shatru and how he was very Sthita Prajna. So this is the first lesson that we can learn from this verse today, that how we can become Sthita Prajna, equipoised, and how we can become Ajata Shatru. I'm going to tell a very small story. And this story I heard long time ago. And this story is so amazing. It is so wonderful that just if you meditate on this story that I'm going to tell you, that can. I have always meditated on this. It has helped me immensely. So this is a small story. If you require some water, but please hear this story. This is really important. And you may have heard this before, but this story is worth hearing again and again. So this story is about a sadhu. So this sadhu was wandering around, and once he was passing by the banks of a river. And this river was very beautiful and serene. And there was a tree on the banks of the river. And that tree was actually bending inside like that, inside that river. So these branches were now on the river. And he was the beauty of this wonderful scene that this river is flowing very peacefully and this tree is very nicely there. And he started chanting there. And while he was chanting, he saw that there was a scorpio on the tree, on the one of the branches. And somehow or the other, while scrolling or crawling on the branch, the scorpio fell down inside the river. And as soon as scorpio fell down in the river, it started drowning. And he was going to die now. And the sadhu felt very, very compassion towards this scorpio. And he decided that I want to save this scorpio. And he jumped inside the river. Now imagine, you want to save a scorpio. This is crazy idea. In beginning itself, it is a crazy idea to save a scorpio, and for that you jump inside the river. But this sadhu was very compassionate. He jumped inside the river. And what to do? So the scorpio, he finally reached the scorpio where it was drowning, and he scooped with his hand, bare hands, he scooped some water, and along that he took the scorpio in the hand. And he immediately started walking towards the bank of the river. But as it happens, when you have water inside your hand, it started dripping. And slowly, slowly the water dripped completely. And as soon as the scorpio touched the skin, what did it do? Bit. The scorpio bit the sadhu. And anyone has experienced the scorpio biting here? Good. I have heard. You have? Oh my God. How was it, Prabhuji? Terrible, isn't it? I have not been unfortunate of getting the scorpio bite, but I have learned from Garuda Puran that the death is compared to 42,000 scorpio bite, right? So that means a scorpio biting is very, very terrible. It is very painful. And as soon as the scorpio bit the sadhu, immediately as a reflection, what happened? He immediately opened his hand and the scorpio fell down in the river. And then again it started drowning. And he started thinking, oh my God, again he's going to die. So again he scooped the water. And with the scoop of water, he took the scorpio and he started walking fast towards the river, towards the bank of the river. But again, the water fell down. Again the scorpio bit him. Again the scorpio fell in the water. Again he thought that, oh no, I can't let the scorpio die. He again started to scoop the water and take the scorpio in his hand. And there was this person who was sitting on the banks of the river. And he said, hey, are you a fool? What are you doing? This scorpio is again going to bite you. You will die like this. It is very poisonous. And if he keeps biting like this to you, you will die by the scorpio bite. So don't do it. And the answer that the sadhu gave, that is life-changing. The sadhu said, it is the nature of the scorpio to bite. And just because it is the nature of the scorpio to bite, why should I give up my nature of compassion? So this is ajata shatru. This quality is that you are not changing your nature just because you are coming in contact with someone who has lower nature. And it will happen. Every day it is going to happen. Even in our devotee community, it is going to happen that we will come in contact with someone who will agitate us, who will irritate us. And with small things it can happen. Someone did not say Hare Krishna to you when you said Hare Krishna. And someone did not pay attention to you. You were going by and they did not actually stop and say Hare Krishna. Or you said Hare Krishna, but they just ignored you and they just went by. Or you did some service and then while saying that, oh, such and such devotee did service or whatever, your name was omitted. And you think that this Prabhuji doesn't like me, or this Mataji doesn't like me. It must be because they don't like me, and that is why my name was omitted. And we immediately get irritated. We get agitated. So this is, what is happening is, we are taking immediately a lower nature. We are coming in contact with something and say coming in contact with mode of passion or mode of ignorance, And instead of remaining steady in our goodness or pure goodness, we are immediately coming to their level. Passion? Okay, you are in passion, you want passion? Here is my passion to you. That is what happens in whenever outside, when someone say shouts at someone, immediately they will say, अरे सिर्फ तुझे ही आता है मैं भी दिखाता हूं तुझे मैं दिखाता हूं मैं कौन हूं I will show you who I am. And immediately you will also, like the people also start fighting because mode of passion and ignorance, they are very contagious. And this contagious mode will immediately get inside us and we will also show our modes. But what this Krishna consciousness process is that we have to actually rise above the passion and ignorance. We have to come to goodness. And even beyond goodness, we have to go to Shuddha Sattva, pure goodness. And once we go there, we have to remain steady, Sthita Prajna. So remaining steady means coming out of duality and remaining out of duality. It is not that once in a while you come out of duality in one particular situation and in the other situation you go down again. No. Sthita Prajna means your intelligence, your mind has to be fixed now. Krishna consciousness, this is how the devotees behave. Yudhishthira Maharaj showed me that I am not going to retaliate like this. Even if someone becomes my enemy, I am not going to become an enemy of the person, of the enemy that, like the other person who is considering me as an enemy. I will remain in goodness and I will remain steady. So this is a rare quality. This is an advanced quality, but we have to actually try. So when our this Lord is giving these instructions and Srimad Bhagavatam is showing these examples, and Kanai Thakur Prabhuji is always telling us that develop these qualities, then what we have to do? We have to try. That is our goal. This is where we want to be. This is the situation I am in. What step I can do to actually go towards this goal? If we actually keep this in our mind, that this is where I want to go, then automatically, slowly, we will reach there. If we don't endeavor and don't try, then we will never reach there. So this is important. Then we also see this from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's example as well. This is another story. You all know. You would have heard this many times as well. This Ramachandra Puri. You know Ramachandra Puri, right? Ishwar Puri and Ramachandra Puri, they were disciples of Madhavendra Puri. And Ishwar Puri served Madhavendra Puri during his last few days, months, years, like that. But Ramachandra Puri was getting influenced by Mayavad. And he was explaining to Madhavendra Puri the Mayavad philosophy. He was saying, why are you lamenting like this at the last moment? You should be peaceful. You should be focused on Brahman. And that is how you will become peaceful. Don't cry like Krishna, Krishna, like this. This is not proper. You should remain peaceful at the time of death, and that is how you should pass. So Madhavendra Puri was very, very angry on Ramachandra Puri. And he said that, I don't want to show your face. Go away from here. So it is like a curse from a spiritual master. The spiritual master saying a disciple that, I don't like you now. You go from here because I don't want to see. That is like a disaster. And because of these words from Madhavendra Puri, of course, over a period of time, Ramachandra Puri fell more and more down. And he started criticizing other Vaishnavas as well. And you know this story when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, that at that time Ramachandra Puri came and he started criticizing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, saying that you are eating too much or you must be eating sweets. That's why all these ants I can see in your hut. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not retaliate. If there was an ordinary devotee, he would have said, hey, look who's talking. I know what you have done in the past. I know your spiritual master, what he has said about you. And you are telling me, go away. Or I know your plans. I know what you do. You actually feed the devotees first and you tell them eat more and more. And then you say that you are eating too much. So I know everything about you. So don't trick me. Go away from here. Yeah, someone would have said like that. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what he did, he said that, okay, if you are like my guru, you are my guru's godbrother, so I will accept. If you think that I am eating like this or whatever, So he did austerity and he reduced his eating completely. And very little he started eating. So immediately here as well we can see, just like Yudhishthir Maharaj, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also showing this quality, that how they can be steady. No matter what other people are saying to them, they are not getting agitated, they are not getting irritated, they are not immediately coming in passion and replying to them. They are remaining steady and they are taking the right action. They are not becoming the enemy of their enemy. Then we also see here it is mentioned that Vasudeva Anumoditaha. So not only Yudhishthir Maharaj took guidance from Dhritarashtra, he also took guidance from Lord Shri Krishna. But that's obvious. Why? Because the king is the representative of the Supreme Lord. He is a Naradeva. And as a representative of the Supreme Lord, he is ruling the kingdom on behalf of the Lord. So taking instruction from the Supreme Lord is normal. But we don't do generally. Sometimes when we get power and position, we actually think that now I know everything and I will start ruling the kingdom, that whatever I have got. Right? So this is the second lesson that we can learn from Yudhishthir Maharaj, that whenever we get some influential position, like somewhere where there is some leadership or managerial position or whatever, in material world, in this Srila Prabhupada's organization, we should actually lead referring to the Supreme Lord, taking instructions from the Supreme Lord. And Yudhishthir Maharaj was fortunate, Arjuna was fortunate that the Supreme Lord was in front of them and they can immediately ask that, "Arey, ye problem hai, kya solution hai?" Immediately the Lord will give. But here for us, we also have the facility. The Lord has given Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So we can always seek instructions from the spiritual master, that now in this situation, what can I do? And if the spiritual master, it is not possible to actually contact them, then we also have the mentors, the counselors in your temple, and we can always seek their guidance as sadhus. And also we have Shastra. So we can actually read the scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and through that we can always get these instructions, and based on those instructions we can lead the situation, whatever that the service that we have received. And in material world as well, whatever job that you have got, somehow or the other you can introduce Krishna consciousness there by seeking guidance first from some experienced devotees. We don't want to actually repel the devotees by giving them Krishna consciousness in a way that they will go away. So take guidance from someone who is more experienced, and from their guidance we can know, and then we can always guide them further. So you have Kanai Thakur Prabhuji here. We can always go to him. Prabhuji, this is the situation. What can I do? And Prabhuji will instantly give some solution for you. And and I will redirect to you. Or whatever I have learned from you, I will tell them. And then say that apart from this, if you want some further guidance, then you can go directly. Prabhuji doesn't have time. He has said that, अरे ये छोटा सा प्रॉब्लम है, मेरे पास क्यों आते हो? जाओ, अमरीश महाराज दास वहाँ पे है, उनके पास जाओ. और उनसे नहीं होता है तो फिर मेरे पास आओ. Then you can go to Prabhuji. So this leadership is like that. Prabhuji, we have some more time, right? Yeah, 5 minutes. So leadership is like this, that we have to actually take the instructions from the scriptures and then move forward like that. And we need to have, so in this, the duty of the leader is also mentioned, some principles of religion which he received from the Lord, and principles of politics that he received from Dhritarashtra. And both of those he implemented. So the leaders or the kings, they have to actually be responsible for social and economical upliftment. So that is given, that the king, if he is there, he has to make sure that everyone gets the job, they are economically well-to-do, and whatever that is there. And everyone does that. All the kings, good kings or good politicians, they will do all of that. But the main responsibility of the king or any leader is spiritual upliftment. If spiritual upliftment is not there, then we are not doing the job properly. And this is the main reason why Lord Krishna wanted to replace Duryodhana with Yudhishthir Maharaj. So when they were in exile for 13 years, Pandavas were in exile for 13 years, Duryodhana was actually ruling the kingdom. And Mahabharata doesn't say that in those 13 years, the economical situation or social situation or political situation was very, very deteriorated. No, it was going on fine. Everyone had job, they were economically well-to-do and everything was okay. But the main problem was there was no spiritual upliftment. If the spiritual upliftment is not happening, then how will we come out of this cycle of birth and death? We can be well-to-do in this material world, and after death we will become some animals, or maybe if you are lucky we will again become human beings. If you don't come out of this cycle, everything is wasted. All the economical advancement that we have done, we are going to leave here. Whatever we are going to take is only spiritual upliftment. So if that is not received in the kingdom, then the job is not well done. And that instruction also comes in Rishabh Dev's pastime in the 5th canto, 5th chapter, 18th verse. It's a famous verse. Gurur na sasyat, swajano na sasyat, pita na sasyaj, janani na sasyat, daivam na sasyan, na patishcha sasyan, namo chayedya samupeta mrityam. Namo chayedya samupeta mrityam. That we should not become Guru, the spiritual master. Swajano means even the relatives. Then Pita, father or mother. Daivam means the demigods or anyone who is worshipable, who is worshipped. Or even the husband. If we are not able to uplift the dependents on the spiritual path, if we are not able to uplift them from this cycle of birth and death, if we are not able to do that, then we cannot become the king, we cannot become the parents. So in Vedic culture, the goal is always how we can reconnect to the Supreme Lord. Somehow or the other we have come down, we are fallen. Somehow or the other we have lost this connection to the Supreme Lord. How can we reconnect that? How can we actually reunite with the Supreme Lord? And that is the goal. And if this goal is there, only then the actions will happen as per the goal. And you would see that anyone who has some goal, they will actually do all their actions to fulfill that goal. In material world as well, if someone wants to become a good cricketer, like Sachin Tendulkar, then you cannot just become Sachin Tendulkar by playing cricket for half an hour in a week. It's not possible. Even if you are super talented, it is not possible that you can become as good cricketer as Sachin Tendulkar. You will have to actually play for 5-6 hours every day. You have to practice. Then you will become a good cricketer like Sachin Tendulkar. So if you have a goal, then you will, any small thing, any small action, a decision that you want to take, you will immediately look at that. I want to become a good cricketer. Is this decision going to help me in that? Yes or no? And then you will take the decision like that. Similarly, all the spiritual practitioners, all of us must have a spiritual goal. And that spiritual goal is given in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, is that we want to develop this Krishna Prem. We want to go back to the spiritual world. This is not the place for us. This is not the place for good people. We have to actually go back to the spiritual world and serve the Supreme Lord there. We have to actually reconnect ourselves to the Supreme Lord. We have to actually redevelop the lost love with the Supreme Lord. And if this is the goal that we all keep, and we have to keep repeating that in our mind, so that whenever some decision time comes, we will actually look at, this is my goal. I want to take this job offer has come. Should I take this job offer or not? Is that going to help me in achieving that goal? Okay, this is neutral, but my current job actually helps me to study a little bit further. I can do 8 to 5 job. This other job is going to give me extra money, but I will have to actually spend 3 hours extra. Then if our goal is not our economic upliftment, but spiritual upliftment, then the decision will be, even if this new job is giving me more money, I will just continue doing my current job because that is my goal. I want to achieve Krishna Prem. I don't want this Maya Prem. I want to actually achieve Krishna Prem. So if Krishna Prem is what I want, then I must take all the actions which are conducive for achieving that goal. And personally, I keep repeating this goal. I want to actually go back to Godhead. I want to actually serve the Supreme Lord. I want to actually achieve Krishna Prem in this one life. I don't want to take 10 lives or 100 lives. Somehow or the other, I want to actually achieve Krishna Prem in this one lifetime. Then automatically our actions and our decisions will be taken accordingly. So, this is the third lesson that we can learn from this purport today, that we should have a spiritual goal. And if we have a spiritual goal, keep repeating that to ourselves and then take the actions accordingly. And Srila Prabhupada has given a lecture on this verse. And Srila Prabhupada was also one extra point that he had mentioned. He was also emphasizing how the kings are responsible for establishing Varnashram Dharma. And they are responsible for making sure that the Varnashram is set properly. For example, the Brahmana has to be a real Brahmana before he claims to be a Brahmana. Just like we have some fake doctors who are claiming to be doctors, then someone will actually complain about them and the government will take action. Similarly, the king has to take action if someone is not following Varnashram and then showing as if they are Kshatriya or Brahmana. And we see that from the example of Parikshit Maharaj, that Parikshit Maharaj took action on Kali. So all of that is known. So just to summarize, we talked about these three lessons today. First one that we learned from Yudhishthir Maharaj was to how we can learn to become Sthita Prajna, equipoised, and Ajata Shatru. The second that we learned was, as a leader, we need to actually guide our dependents towards Krishna. Whatever little influence that you have, you don't have to be like a CEO of a company or a temple president of a temple. Like even one or two people that you are aware and they actually listen to you, you can actually guide them towards Krishna. And the third lesson that we learned today is that we need to have a goal, and with that goal, we have to actually go towards Krishna somehow and always take our actions like that. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. If there are some quick questions, I can take, or Prabhuji can answer some of those questions. Any questions or comments? I have bored you enough. You are saying that now finish. Okay, so we'll stop here. Jai. Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Jai. Pitru Paitamaha Vibhu. The royal principles approved by his uncles, father and forefather. You can speak a little bit.